Juwu pushed her dark hair from her face and looked up at the night sky. Rain fell softly around her as she walked home from the library. She was tired after studying for hours, but her mind was still sharp. It always was. At 22, Juwu was known across her university for one thing: her honest, biting humor. When others stayed quiet to be polite, Juwu said what everyone was thinking. Her friends called her the Queen of Chaos because her words often turned quiet rooms into loud ones. "Another boring day," she muttered, splashing through a puddle. "Study, eat, sleep, repeat." The sky suddenly lit up with strange blue lights. Juwu stopped walking and stared up, her mouth open. The lights were not lightning. They moved in patterns, circling slowly above the city. "What is that?" she whispered, pulling out her phone to take a picture. Before she could press the button, a bright beam shot down from the lights, surrounding her in blue glow. Juwu felt her feet leave the ground. Her stomach dropped as she rose into the air, her scream dying in her throat as darkness took her. When Juwu opened her eyes, she was lying on a cold metal floor. The room around her curved in strange ways, with walls that seemed to glow from within. This was not Earth. This was not anywhere she knew. A door slid open without a sound. Two tall beings walked in. They had blue skin that shimmered like water and long, thin arms. Their eyes were large and solid black, with no whites or pupils. Juwu pushed herself against the wall, heart racing. "Who are you? What do you want?" One of the beings touched her head. Sharp pain shot through her ear, making her cry out. Then, suddenly, she could understand them. "The human specimen is awake," said the taller one. "Bring it to the council." "I am not an it," Juwu said angrily, but they ignored her, pulling her to her feet. They led her through long hallways that curved up and around. Other strange beings passed them, some with scales, others with extra limbs or eyes. None looked fully human. Finally, they entered a massive room. 17 different types of aliens sat in rising rows, like a theater. At the center was a platform where Juwu was pushed to stand. "This is the human we selected for study," announced her captor. "The council will now decide Earth's fate." A tall blue alien with decorated shoulders stood up. "I am Commander Tayo of the Dosu. We have watched your planet for centuries. Humans are dangerous. You fight wars over invisible borders. You destroy your own world for comfort. You are too risky to join our galactic community." Whispers filled the room as other aliens nodded. "We must decide," continued Tayo. "Should Earth be isolated forever? Or should it be removed?" Juwu's blood turned cold. They were talking about destroying Earth, her home, everyone she knew. "Wait," she said, finding her voice. "You can't just decide to wipe out billions of lives after kidnapping one person." Tahoe looked at her with those empty black eyes. "The human will be silent. It does not understand galactic matters." Anger replaced Juwu's fear. These aliens, sitting in their fancy room, thinking they were better than humans, judging her entire world without really knowing it. Juwu did what she always did when cornered. She found the weakness and attacked with words. "You know what I see," she said loudly. "I see a room full of scared aliens. Your fancy commander stands there like he has a spaceship stuck up his behind." The room went completely silent. Even the translator in her ear seemed to hesitate. From the corner came a strange sound. A small green alien was making wheezing noises. It was laughing. Juwu stood taller. The Queen of Chaos had found her stage, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Commander Tahoe's face darkened to a deep blue as he glared at Juwu. No one had ever spoken to him like this before. Not in his 300 years of leading the Dosu. "You dare mock this council," he said, his voice low and dangerous. Juwu knew she should stop, but fear made her bolder, not quieter. "I'm not mocking the council. I'm mocking you. There's a difference." More aliens began to make the strange laughing sounds. A tall, thin alien with purple skin stood up. "The human has spirit," she said. "I am Ambassador Minji of the Nobu Federation. Perhaps we should listen before we judge." Tahoe waved his hand. "Humans are ruled by emotion. This one proves my point. Look how it speaks without thinking of the cost." "Actually," Ju said, "I'm thinking very clearly. You kidnapped me. You're talking about destroying my planet. What do I have to lose by speaking my mind?" She looked around the room, studying each alien group. Her eyes landed on a group with gold skin and fancy clothes. "And you," she said, pointing at them. "You sit there in your shiny clothes looking down on humans, but I bet you've never even met one before me. How many worlds have you conquered while pretending it was for their own good?" The gold aliens shifted uncomfortably. One whispered to another. Ju turned to a group of small, round aliens with too many eyes. "And you all, with your advanced technology. Your ships are falling apart. I saw them when we docked. You're so busy making new things that you forget to fix the old ones." The room filled with more whispers, some angry, some amused. What Ju didn't know was that tiny cameras floated around her, sending her words to every corner of the galaxy. Billions of beings on thousands of planets were watching a human girl stand up to the most powerful aliens in space. "Enough," shouted Tahoe, slamming his hand on a table. "Remove the human." Two guards moved toward Ju, but Ambassador Minji raised her hand. "Wait," she said. "The human shows us something important. She sees our flaws clearly, even as a stranger. Perhaps this is a quality worth studying." Another alien, with skin like rock, spoke up. "The Dosu have led our council for too long. Maybe we should hear new voices." The room erupted in argument. Some aliens defended Ju, while others demanded her removal. Through it all, Ju stood on the platform, watching as her words tore through centuries of false politeness. "Take her away," Tahoe finally ordered. "We will decide what to do with her and her planet later." The same guards who brought her in now led Ju down a different hallway. They pushed her into a small room with a bed and a strange glowing panel on the wall. "You should not have spoken that way," one guard said. "The commander never forgets an insult." After they left, Ju sat on the edge of the bed, her hands shaking. The brave face she showed the council was just that, a face. Inside, she was terrified, not just for herself, but for Earth. She didn't know that across the ship, aliens were already talking about the human who dared. Video of her speech was being copied and shared between ships. Some watched it in horror, others with secret delight. A young Dosu officer named Doyun was assigned to guard her door. Unlike his leaders, he had lived among humans during a secret mission to Earth. He had seen their art, their music, their strange way of finding humor in pain. He stood outside her door, listening to her quiet crying. "Human," he said through the door, "what you did was brave. Stupid, but brave." Ju looked up, wiping her eyes. "Is brave stupidity better than smart cowardice?" Do-hyun didn't answer, but for the first time in his life, he questioned what his leaders had taught him about humans. And that was just the beginning. Ju woke up to the sound of voices arguing outside her door. She had fallen asleep on the strange bed after hours of worry. The translator in her ear buzzed with alien words. "The human is causing too much trouble," said a deep voice she recognized as Commander Tahoe. "We should return it to Earth and wipe its memories." "That would be a mistake," said the softer voice of Ambassador Minji. "This human shows a quality the galaxy needs, honesty without fear." "Honesty?" Tahoe laughed. "You call that display honest? It was rude and dangerous." "Perhaps the truth often is," Minji replied. Ju moved closer to the door, straining to hear more. The aliens continued to argue about Earth's fate and what to do with her. Words like primitive and unpredictable were used often. They spoke of humans like they were wild animals. After the voices moved away, the door slid open. The young Dosu officer, Do-hyun, stood there with a tray of strange-looking food. "You must eat," he said simply, placing the tray on a small table. Ju eyed the colorful items. Is it safe for humans? We have studied your kind for centuries, Do-yun said. This food will not harm you. Ju picked up something that looked like a blue apple. Why are you being nice to me? Do-yun looked uncomfortable. I spent 3 Earth years in your soul city watching humans. Your people are. He paused, searching for words. Different than what we are taught. Different how? Ju took a small bite of the fruit. It tasted like honey and mint. You laugh at serious things. You cry at happy things. You make art that serves no purpose. It is all very confusing. Ju smiled a little. That's what makes us human. We're messy. Do-yun looked at her with those black eyes. How can you joke when your planet's future is being decided? Aren't you afraid? I'm terrified, Ju admitted. But what else can I do? When everything is going wrong, sometimes laughter is all you have left. This seemed to puzzle Do-yun. In Dosu culture, fear was shown through silence and stiff formality. The idea of turning fear into humor was completely new. Walk with me, he said suddenly. You have been in this room too long. Against all rules, Do-yun led Ju through quiet parts of the massive ship. He showed her viewing windows where she could see stars streaking by and pointed out other alien ships flying alongside them. The Council fleet, he explained. 17 species, over 200 ships. Ju stared in wonder. All this time, you were out here. We thought we were alone. Most young species think they are the center of the universe, Do-yun said. It is normal. As they walked, aliens stopped to stare at Ju. Some moved away in fear. Others watched with interest. Word of her council speech had spread throughout the fleet. They're afraid of me, Ju realized. But why? I'm just one human. Not afraid of you, Do-yun corrected. Afraid of what you represent. Change. He explained that the Galactic Order had remained the same for thousands of years. The Dosu led, others followed. Planets were either brought into the system or isolated. Earth was unusual because humans developed too quickly in unexpected ways. Your weapons advanced faster than your wisdom, Do-yun said. This worries the Council. Ju frowned. So they judge all humans by our worst qualities. What about our art, our music, our kindness? Before Do-yun could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the hallways. What's happening? Ju asked, heart racing. Do-yun's face showed rare emotion. Worry. Council members from 3 systems have just announced they are leaving the Alliance. They say the Dosu have hidden important information from them. He looked at Ju with new eyes. Your words have started something. The Council is breaking apart. Ju felt her stomach drop. She had only wanted to stand up for herself and Earth. Now she might have started a galactic crisis. Take me back to my room, she whispered. But it was already too late for that. The Queen of Chaos had lived up to her name. News about the human Joker spread through the fleet like wildfire. In the 3 days since Juwoo's speech, the once united council had split into 2 clear groups. One side, led by Commander Tayo, wanted to return Juwoo to Earth and isolate the planet forever. The other side, led by Ambassador Minji, believed humans might have something valuable to offer the galaxy. Back in her room, Juwoo was surprised by a steady stream of visitors. Lower-ranking aliens from different species came with excuses to see her. They'd brought food, asked questions, or simply wanted to look at the human who had dared to speak against the Dosu. Why do they keep coming? Ju asked Do-yun after a group of small, furry aliens left her room. You said what many have thought for centuries but were too afraid to say, Do-yun explained. The Dosu rule through fear and technology. No one challenges them. Until now, Ju said quietly. Do-yun nodded. Until you. That evening, Do-yun took Ju to a hidden viewing deck where they could see Earth, a small blue dot far away. What's happening down there? Ju asked, touching the cold glass. Do they know I'm missing? Your disappearance has been noticed, Do-Yun said. But your leaders think you ran away or were taken by other humans. They do not look to the stars. Ju-Woo watched her planet, so small from this distance. Everyone she knew was there. Her parents, her friends, her teachers. None of them knew that aliens were real, let alone that those aliens were deciding Earth's fate. There is something you should see, Do-Yun said, leading her to another part of the ship. They entered a large room filled with screens. On each one, alien faces talked excitedly. Ju-Woo recognized the strange symbols from the council chamber. What is this place? She asked. The news center, Do-Yun explained. These are broadcasts from all 17 systems in the council. They are all talking about you. Ju-Woo's eyes widened as she saw images of herself on every screen. The video of her confronting the council had been shared across the galaxy. Billions of beings had seen her stand up to Commander Tayo. I'm famous? She asked in disbelief. You are a symbol, Do-Yun corrected. For some, a symbol of danger. For others, a symbol of hope. He pointed to a screen showing protests on a distant planet. The aliens there held signs with Ju-Woo's face. They call for change. They say if a simple human can speak truth to power, so can they. Ju-Woo felt dizzy. This is too much. I just wanted to go home. An alarm sounded, and Do-Yun quickly pulled Ju-Woo away from the screens. We must go. I should not have brought you here. As they hurried through the halls, they ran directly into Commander Tayo and two tall guards. Taho's black eyes narrowed. Officer Do-Yun, you have broken our most important rule. The human should not be allowed to roam freely. Do-Yun stood straight. The human has rights, Commander. She is not a prisoner. She is whatever I say she is. Taho snapped. He looked at Ju-Woo with cold eyes. Your little performance has caused enough trouble. 3 systems have broken ties with the Council. Protests have started on 7 planets, all because of you. Ju-Woo met his gaze. Maybe the problem isn't what I said. Maybe it's what you've been hiding. Taho's face darkened. Take her to the high-security cell, he ordered the guards, and arrest Officer Do-Yun for treason. The guards moved forward, but suddenly Ambassador Minji appeared with her own security team. You have no authority to arrest anyone, Commander, she said firmly. The Council is divided. Your word is no longer final. The 2 groups faced each other in the hallway, tension crackling between them. This human has started a rebellion, Taho said, and I will end it. This human has started a conversation, Minji replied, one that is long overdue. Ju-Woo looked between them, realizing that her simple act of defiance had cracked open centuries of buried tensions. Whatever happened next would change the galaxy forever. And somehow, she was at the center of it all. The standoff in the hallway ended when both Taho and Minji received urgent messages on their communication devices. They left quickly, forgetting about Ju-Woo and Do-Yun in their rush. What just happened? Ju-Woo asked, watching them hurry away. Do-Yun's face was serious. Emergency council meeting. Something important has happened. More important than arresting us. Ju-Woo raised an eyebrow. Much more important. Do-Yun looked around to make sure no one was listening. Come with me. There is something you need to know. He led her through parts of the ship she hadn't seen before. They went down narrow hallways and through doors that required Do-Yun's handprint to open. Finally, they reached a small dark room filled with glowing screens. This is the data center, Do-Yun explained. All the Council's secrets are here. Should we be here? Ju-Woo asked nervously. No. Do-Yun's hands moved quickly over the screens. But you deserve to know the truth. The largest screen lit up with a map of the galaxy. A dark purple cloud was moving slowly toward one edge. What is that? Ju-Woo asked, pointing to the cloud. That is why the Council really came to Earth's sector, Do-Yun said quietly. It's called the Void, a force that destroys everything it touches. Planets, stars, entire systems. Gone. Ju-Woo stared at the screen. Like a black hole. Worse, Black holes follow rules. The void doesn't. It moves with purpose, changing direction, hunting. The screen showed the void's path over the last 100 years. It had destroyed 3 star systems already. And it's coming toward us. Ju felt cold fear in her stomach. Do-hyun nodded. The council has known about it for centuries. They've been preparing, building weapons, making plans. Then why keep it secret? Why not tell everyone? Control, Do-hyun said simply. Knowledge is power. The Dosu and other top species believe that telling lesser worlds would cause panic. Ju watched the purple cloud on the screen. That's why they're deciding Earth's fate. They're not worried about us joining the galaxy. They're deciding if Earth is worth saving from the void. Yes, Do-hyun admitted. Some worlds will be sacrificed to save others. Earth is new to the Council's attention. It would be easy to leave it unprotected. Ju felt anger rising in her chest. They're playing with billions of lives, and they didn't even tell us. We deserve to know. We deserve a chance to fight. That is what Ambassador Minji believes too, Do-hyun said. But Commander Taeho and others think resources should go only to long-standing council members. The door suddenly slid open. A group of Dosu security officers stood there, weapons raised. Officer Do-hyun, step away from the human, the leader ordered. You have broken security laws by bringing it here. Do-hyun didn't move. She needed to know the truth. The truth is not for humans, the officer said coldly. Commander Taeho has ordered the human to be returned to Earth immediately. Its memory will be wiped. Ju looked at the screens, then at the guards. You can't just send me back and make me forget. Earth needs to know about the void. We have a right to prepare, to fight. Fight, the officer laughed. Your primitive weapons would do nothing against the void. The Council has been building defenses for centuries, and even we are not certain of victory. Then maybe you need new ideas, Ju said firmly. Human ideas. The officers moved forward to grab her, but Do-hyun stepped between them. Wait. The Council is divided. You cannot act without full approval. We have our orders, the leader said, raising his weapon. At that moment, the ship shook violently. Alarms blared throughout the halls. The lights flickered and went out, replaced by dim red emergency lighting. What's happening? Ju asked, grabbing a table to stay upright. The officer's communication device buzzed. His face went pale as he listened to the message. Impossible, he whispered. It cannot be here already. Do-hyun looked at the main screen, which now showed a small dot of purple at the edge of their sector. The void, he said, his voice shaking. It's coming faster than we predicted. We have days, not months. The galaxy's greatest threat was approaching, and the Council was too divided to face it. Earth didn't even know it existed. And Ju realized that her little roast might have broken the galaxy's only defense just when it needed unity the most. Chaos filled the ship as news of the void's early arrival spread. Aliens ran through the hallways. Some were preparing for battle, while others were trying to leave on smaller ships. In the confusion, Ju and Do-hyun slipped away from the security officers. What now? Ju asked as they hid in a small storage room. Do-hyun looked troubled. The Council will meet to decide which planets to protect and which to leave to the void. Earth will not be high on their list. Ju paced the small room. This is wrong. The whole galaxy deserves to know the truth. They should all have a chance to fight. What can one human do? Do-hyun asked. Ju stopped pacing. Her eyes lit up with an idea. The same thing this human did before. Speak up. But this time, to everyone. She turned to Do-hyun with determination in her eyes. Can you get me to the broadcast room? The one where all those news reports were coming from. Do-hyun looked shocked. That would be impossible. It's heavily guarded. Is it? Ju pointed to the door. Right now, everyone is running around worried about the void. This is our chance. Do-hyun hesitated, then nodded. You're right. Come quickly. They moved through the ship, staying away from the main hallways. Just as Ju predicted, the security was light. Most guards had been called to help with the emergency. When they reached the broadcast center, only one guard stood at the door. Do-hyun approached him. "Emergency orders from Commander Tao," he said officially. "The human is to make a statement to calm the protests on the outer planets." The guard looked doubtful. "I received no such orders." "Communications are down in many sectors," Do-hyun said. "Check if you want, but the commander will be angry if this is delayed." The guard stepped aside, not wanting to risk Taho's anger. Inside the broadcast room, Ju stared at the complex equipment. Will this reach everyone? Every ship in the fleet and all 17 home systems, Do-hyun confirmed, quickly working the controls. "You'll have about 2 minutes before they override it." "That's all I need," Ju said, stepping in front of the camera. Do-hyun pressed a final button. "You're live. Now." Ju took a deep breath and looked directly into the camera. "People of the galaxy, my name is Ju. I am a human from planet Earth. I'm speaking to you because your leaders are hiding the truth. A force called the Void is approaching our galaxy. It destroys everything in its path." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Your council has known about this threat for centuries, but kept it secret. Now they're deciding which worlds to save and which to sacrifice. They're choosing who lives and who dies without even telling you the danger exists." On screens across the galaxy, aliens of all species watched in shock as the human revealed their leader's greatest secret. While they debate which worlds matter most, they hide the truth from their own people. "The Void is coming faster than they predicted. We have days, not months." Ju's voice grew stronger. "On Earth, we have a saying. The first step in solving a problem is admitting you have one. Your leaders are too afraid to admit they're afraid. But we don't have time for fear. We need to work together. All species, all planets." Warning lights began flashing in the broadcast room. They were trying to cut her off. "The council is divided and fighting among themselves while doom approaches. Is this how you want to face the end? Following leaders who lie to you?" The door burst open. Security officers rushed in, but Ju managed one last sentence before they reached her. "Demand the truth. Demand a chance to fight. Don't let them decide your fate without." The broadcast cut off. Officers grabbed Ju and Do-hyun, dragging them away from the controls. But it was too late. Her message had reached every corner of the galaxy. On hundreds of planets, beings looked to the stars with new fear and anger. Commander Taho appeared in the doorway, his face dark with rage. "You have doomed us all," he said to Ju. "There will be panic and chaos everywhere." "Maybe," Ju replied calmly. "Or maybe you'll finally see what happens when everyone works together instead of just the chosen few." As they were led away, urgent messages flooded in from every council world. The carefully controlled galaxy was erupting in questions and demands. The Queen of Chaos had struck again, and nothing would ever be the same. Ju sat in a high-security cell, alone. After her broadcast, Commander Taho had separated her from Do-hyun. She worried about what might happen to him for helping her. The ship had been in constant movement for hours. Through her small window, she could see other ships joining their fleet. The council was gathering all its forces. The door slid open. To her surprise, Ambassador Minji entered with Commander Taho and several other council leaders. "The human will face the council immediately," Taho said coldly. Guards led Ju through the ship to the main council chamber. It was packed with aliens from all 17 species. The mood was tense. As Ju was brought to the center platform, she noticed the screens around the room showing planets in chaos. Her broadcast had indeed reached everyone. Commander Taho addressed the council. "This human has caused galaxy-wide panic. Riots have broken out on 12 planets. 3 defense stations have been abandoned by frightened workers." He pointed at Ju. "We were handling the Void threat carefully, with proper planning. Now we face not only the Void but also the chaos this human has created. Jiwoo squared her shoulders and looked around the room. You had centuries to plan. And what did you do? Build weapons and decide which planets matter most. Did you ever consider another way? Silence. Tahoe shouted. What would a primitive human know about fighting a force like the Void? Maybe nothing, Jiwoo admitted. Or maybe everything. You've all been looking at this problem the same way for centuries. Perhaps you need a new perspective. Ambassador Minji stepped forward. Let the humans speak. We have tried our way for a long time with little success. All eyes turned to Jiwoo. The Queen of Chaos now had the floor, and the fate of the galaxy hung on her words. Humans are messy, emotional, and chaotic, she began. We fight, we disagree, and we make mistakes. But when truly threatened, we can set aside our differences and work together. She walked around the platform, making eye contact with different council members. Your reports say the Void consumes everything in its path, moving with purpose. It changes direction to catch planets trying to escape. It adapts to your weapons. Correct. A tall alien with green skin nodded. It learns and adapts. Nothing stops it for long. Then you can't fight it with the same tactics you've always used, Jiwoo said. The Void expects that. It adapts to patterns. She took a deep breath. So be unpredictable. Be human. Jiwoo outlined a new plan. Instead of the massive warships the Council had built, she suggested smaller, faster ships moving in random patterns. Instead of direct attacks, she recommended quick strikes from multiple directions with constant changes in strategy. The Void consumes what it can predict, she explained. Be unpredictable. Attack, retreat, change direction, never follow the same pattern twice. As she spoke, holographic displays showed her ideas in action. The council members watched, some with doubt, others with growing interest. This is foolishness, Commander Tahoe scoffed. Random attacks with no clear strategy. Not random, corrected a deep voice. A large alien with gray skin and medals covering his chest stood up. Adaptable. I am Admiral Sunwoo of the Jury Fleet. I have fought in 14 major conflicts, and I have never seen a battle plan like this. He studied the holographic displays. But it might work precisely because it is so different. The Void expects us to be logical and predictable. This human strategy is neither. Other military leaders began to discuss the plan, pointing out strengths and weaknesses. To Jiwoo's surprise, many saw value in her ideas. We have tried the same approaches for centuries with limited success, Admiral Sunwoo said. Perhaps it is time for a new way. Commander Tahoe looked furious but was now outnumbered. More council members were nodding in agreement with Sunwoo. Jiwoo watched as her simple idea took hold. For the first time since the Void was discovered, the council was truly united in purpose, not by fear or force, but by hope. Very well, Commander Tahoe said finally. We will try the humans' plan. But remember who is responsible if it fails. Jiwoo met his gaze calmly. I already know. All of us will be responsible. That's what it means to face a threat together. For the first time in galactic history, a human was leading the way. For the next 3 days, Jiwoo worked with alien engineers and military leaders to prepare for the Void. They called their plan the Queen's Gambit, a name that made Jiwoo smile. In chess, the Queen's Gambit meant sacrificing something valuable early to gain a bigger advantage later. The ships are almost ready, Admiral Sunwoo told her as they stood in the massive hangar bay. Hundreds of small, fast ships were being prepared. Each had been painted with different colors and patterns, making them look like a swarm of strange space insects. They're beautiful, Jiwoo said, watching pilots from all 17 species boarding their ships. And deadly, Sunwoo added. Each one carries weapons designed to attack the Void in different ways. No two are exactly alike. This was the core of Jiwoo's plan, unpredictability. The Void adapted to patterns, so they would give it no patterns to learn. Do-hyun appeared, now wearing the uniform of a ship captain. The Earth communication team is ready, he told Juwu. This had been Juwu's strongest demand. Earth must be told the truth. After much argument, the Council had agreed to send a message to Earth's leaders, explaining the void and their plan to fight it. What did they say? Juwu asked anxiously. They were shocked, of course, Do-hyun said. But they're helping. Your scientists are sharing ideas. Your military is preparing backup plans if we fail. Juwu nodded, relieved. Humans have been imagining alien invasions for centuries. We've thought of ways to fight that the Council never considered. Like using sound waves against the void, said a voice behind them. Commander Taho approached, looking tired but less angry than before. Your human scientists suggested it might disrupt the void structure. We're adding sonic weapons to some ships now. Juwu was surprised by Taho's new respect. Thank you for listening. I still think you caused unnecessary panic, Taho said stiffly. But your plan has merit. Coming from him, this was high praise. Ambassador Minji joined them, holding a datapad. The last colony ships are away, she reported. Those who cannot fight have been moved to safe systems. The plan had 3 parts: evacuation of civilians, defense of key worlds, and the direct attack on the void using Juwu's unpredictable tactics. Every species was playing a role. There's a problem, Minji added. The Logu system refuses to share their shielding technology. They say it's too valuable to risk. Juwu frowned. Even now, some were holding back resources that could help everyone. I need to speak to them, she said. Soon, she was facing the Lobu ambassador on a large screen. The fish-like alien looked down at her with 6 eyes. Our shield technology has protected us for 1,000 years, he said proudly. We cannot share our secrets. Juwu took a deep breath. Would you rather keep your toys to yourself in a dead galaxy or share them in a living one? The chamber went silent. Then Admiral Sunwoo let out a rumbling laugh. Others joined in, even some of the Lobu on the screen. The Lobu ambassador's skin changed color. You speak boldly for a human. I speak truthfully, Juwu replied. Which is what we all need right now. After a pause, the ambassador nodded. We will share our shield technology, for the good of all. As the screen went dark, cheers filled the room. Another barrier broken by Juwu's direct words. Later that night, Juwu stood alone at a viewing window, watching the massive fleet prepare for battle. Ships of all sizes moved in practice formations, testing Juwu's chaotic battle plans. Do-hyun found her there. We have 12 hours before the void reaches the outer defense line, he said quietly. Juwu nodded, suddenly feeling very small. She was just one human girl from Earth. What did she know about fighting cosmic threats? Are you afraid? Do-hyun asked. Terrified, she admitted. What if I'm wrong? What if my plan fails? Do-hyun put a hand on her shoulder. Then we fail together, fighting in a new way. That is better than failing apart, using the old ways. Juwu smiled slightly. When did you become so wise? I had a good teacher, he replied. A queen of chaos who taught me that sometimes the old order must break for a new one to begin. The alarm sounded, calling all fighters to their stations. The final countdown had begun. The battle against the void lasted 3 days. Juwu watched from the command ship as the fleet put her plan into action. The small, colorful ships moved in ever-changing patterns, attacking the void from all directions. The void was unlike anything Juwu had imagined. It wasn't just darkness. It was an absence of everything, a moving hole in reality. When ships got too close, they simply disappeared. It's adapting, Admiral Sunwoo said on the first day, as the void began to predict the movements of one group of ships, just as you warned. Then we changed too, Juwu replied. She grabbed the communication device. Group 7, switch to pattern blue. Group 3, move to assist but use pattern yellow. The ships immediately changed their movements, confusing the void again. This became the pattern of the battle. The void would begin to predict their moves, and Juwu would call for new ones. The names of the patterns came from Earth things, video games, dance moves, sports plays, and even traffic patterns from busy cities. On the second day, they suffered heavy losses. 300 ships disappeared into the void. Ju felt each loss like a weight on her heart. "We can't keep this up forever," Commander Tahoe said. "Our fighters are getting tired. The void isn't. Then we need to stop playing defense." Ju decided. "Admiral, prepare the sound weapons." This was the riskiest part of her plan. Based on Earth scientists' suggestions, they had built ships with powerful sound wave generators. The theory was that certain frequencies might disrupt the void structure. "The ships will need to get very close," Admiral Sunwoo warned. "Many won't return. Ask for volunteers only," Ju insisted. To her surprise, every pilot volunteered. Species that had been enemies for centuries now fought side by side, willing to sacrifice themselves for all. The sound attack began on the third day. 50 ships flew directly at the void, broadcasting frequencies that changed every few seconds. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the edge of the void began to shimmer. "It's working," someone shouted. The void seemed to pull back, as if in pain. More ships joined the attack, adding their sound waves to the assault. "All ships, press the advantage," Admiral Sunwoo ordered. The battle reached its peak when the void suddenly contracted, pulling in on itself. For a moment, everyone watched in stunned silence. Then the void exploded outward in a wave of energy that knocked out power on half the fleet. When the emergency systems came back online, they saw that the void was gone. Where it had been was now just empty space, filled with stars. The cheers that went up shook the command ship. Species that had never touched embraced each other. Some wept, others sang. They had faced the galaxy's greatest threat together and won. 6 months later, Ju stood on a platform in the new council chamber. The old hierarchical room had been replaced with a circular design where all species sat at the same level. Ju wore formal clothes marked with symbols from all 17 systems. As Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council, she began her speech. "I bring greetings from a planet that, until recently, thought it was alone in the universe." The chamber was filled with representatives from all worlds, including humans who had been selected to join the galactic community. The old council kept secrets and decided the fate of worlds without their knowledge. Ju continued, "This new council will be different. All voices will be heard. All knowledge will be shared." Commander Tahoe, now just one voice among many, nodded in agreement. The battle against the void had changed him too. Later, as Ju walked through the ship with Doyun, now her official assistant, she stopped at a window to look at the stars. "Do you miss Earth?" he asked. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but I go back often enough. And this work is important." "The Queen of Chaos became the Queen of Order," Doyun said with a smile. Ju laughed. "Not order. Balance. Chaos has its place too. Without my chaotic roasting of the council, none of this would have happened." Throughout the galaxy, her story was told again and again. How one girl's honest words had broken through centuries of secrets and fear. How humanity's greatest strength was not its technology or weapons, but its unpredictable spirit and ability to find humor even in the darkest times. The Queen of Chaos had changed history with nothing but the truth and a really good roast.